All right, now let's talk to James Campbell, of course, national political editor for the weekend papers. You read your stuff all over the place. Great stuff last weekend, though, mate, because I want to talk about this. You're exclusive. You had a look at the modelling. Some people have had a chat to you. 300,000 people might lose their jobs because of these damn power prices.
Well, not quite lose. It's just they're jobs that Albo said he might create if we went down the road.
Oh, you mean that was rubbish?
His renewables plant. Yeah, I'm afraid they were about as real as the $275.
Oh no! So the 500,000 jobs that were going to fall from the sky. That Jenny George herself was,
thank you, 600
was crap. That I think Greg Brown from the Australian stood up at the press conference and said, "Hang on." According to this, there's only about 30,000 jobs in building this stuff. Are you telling me Albo didn't tell the whole truth, mate?
Well, the modelling basically worked like this. There are 600,000 jobs were promised by 2030 as a consequence of the policy. And the way that they worked that out was they worked out that there are probably around 300,000 of them are directly in renewables and building transmissions and things like that. And another 300 would just would be what they called induced because we were going to have such lower power prices. So the modelling assumes that by 2025, power prices will be 18% lower than they were in 2021, and they would be 26% lower by 2030. Now, as you know, 2021 was the last time power prices were low. It was, in fact, the lowest period, I think, in about a decade. They're now the modelling assumed around 60-something, I think, bucks per megawatt hour wholesale. I think it's now at around 200 or something, or whatever it is, or more than that. Sorry, the figures dropped off my head. But basically, it's around. It's not even close. Like it's not only is it prices higher than they were then, they're not. The market is predicting there's no chance that they're going to be lower than they were in 2021. We'd be lucky to get them back to 2021. So I'm sorry, Australia, if the modelling is correct and it's hold up, these jobs are going up the Swanee.
I mean, I don't know about you. This is why I said 300,000 people are going to lose their jobs, because I just thought it was. I mean, if Albo said this, it must have been true. Roll the tape.
From acting on climate change, moving towards powering with renewables, with some insurance to make sure that there's also that stability in the grid. It's no accident that our plan for Powering Australia, which will create 604,000 new jobs by 2030, will have 5 out of every 6 of those jobs created in regional Australia.
Missed it by that much. All right, just like the unemployment rate, remember at the start. Now, James, I want to ask you about your other area of expertise, bit of Victoria. So, Jeff Kennett comes out today and says that the regions are going to turn on the Andrews government. OK, I hope that's the case. They got locked down longer than they should have. But I want you to try to explain to me the joy of the wonderful Victorian, who of course we love, that will tell a pollster, 60% of which say the lockdowns went for too long. Yet the exact same people tell a pollster they will re-elect the government that had a lockdown that went too long, literally rewarding them for sending you to your room. I love Victoria, but I don't get this.
Well, I think that the difference between those new numbers, Paul, is a reflection on what people think about the state of the opposition down here.
Good point.
It's not that they're in love with this guy by any stretch of the imagination. And you bring Kennett up, but a lot of people I talk to in politics are talking about the prospect of a 1999 style upset where Jeffrey was travelling along beautifully even 3 weeks before polling day and ended up losing his majority and losing his job. Because a whole bunch of they lost some seats and independents got elected. The difference is I like Matthew Guy, he's a good guy, but nobody in their wildest dreams thinks he's Steve Bracks. Labor had a once-in-a-generation rock star candidate. You know, women used to fawn all over him. You know, men wanted to be him. He was just he was one of those sort of political talents you just don't see every day. So what the pollsters, I think, are saying is they don't want to re-elect this guy, and given a chance, if they can be convinced between now and polling day that the other side are halfway competent, I think those polls are going to move very, very quickly, particularly in the outer suburbs and some of the regional areas, the ones that got locked down for reasons that, never really made sense. If you're living in the inner city or, the dress circle teal suburbs, and you basically didn't suffer during the lockdown, you got to work from home, you're probably still working from home. If you're a public servant, you got extra money to work from home. Like, this is great. They're not angry. The government is travelling well, and with those sort of people. And the one thing that I would be thinking about is that those sort of people are far more likely to answer polls than the sort of people who are pissed off about this.
No,
everybody I talk to says real problems with ethnic communities too. Some of the people who traditionally vote Labor, they didn't like being locked up by this bloke.
Well, very good stuff. All right, thank you, James. Do appreciate it. Always across it, both national and the state picture as well. Do appreciate it. We'll read your stuff. Herald, Sun, Daily Telegraph, of course, Courier Mail, Tyres, all the rest of it, each and every weekend.